Hey Canucks fans, welcome to the line change. As always, before we dive into our topic today, I want to give a quick shout out and thank you to my sponsor, Gassy Jack Art, maker of this amazing artwork you see on display behind me, and you guys can check them out yourselves at GassyJackArt.com. You can also find him on Instagram at GassyJackArt. There, I do have a link to his website in the description down below, so go ahead and check him out. Now, for today's topic, we're going to be going over an article again from our friends at Canucks Army. This one was written by Jeff Patterson, and I found it interesting. He talks about and he poses the question of what an acceptable home record for the Vancouver Canucks this season is. Now, everyone remembers last season, the Canucks' home record was absolutely atrocious. Like, it was so bad. And I know a lot of Canucks fans were not happy about that, And at least during the early part of the season, or at least early to mid part of the season, a lot of the media were talking about just how bad the home record was and how mind-blown people were, especially considering that the year prior was the complete opposite. Their home record was one of the best in the league, and fans were having a great time at home. The Canucks were doing a lot of winning. Obviously, that changed this past season. So let's go ahead and take a look at this article. And again, I think it's an interesting topic. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. JPAT goes on to say, when it comes to areas of obvious improvement for the Vancouver Canucks this season, the team's performance on home ice should be at the top of the list. I 100% agree. But saying they need to be better at Rogers Arena just isn't enough. The challenge, of course, is for the Canucks to make it happen. Last season, the team finished with an appalling 17, 16, and 8 record in front of its home fans. Only bottom feeders Chicago and San Jose, Chicago being 15th and San Jose being 12th, managed fewer home ice victories, but it goes much further than that. The Canucks were outscored 127 to 112 at home, won just one of 8 games decided in overtime on home ice, and generated a league-low 24.8 shots per game. Individually, Quinn Hughes was the only Canuck to crest 30 points in the team's 41 home games, and Brock Besser, with 15, was the only player on the team to score more than 12 home ice goals. On many nights, the home team's performance was borderline unwatchable. And he's completely right on that. The home record was, it wasn't just the home record. It was Canucks being, as we just mentioned, the Canucks being outscored at home. The players not, doing enough at home to allow the Canucks to win games. Through all of that, the Canucks still managed to scrape together 90 points in the standings and finished just 6 points back of St. Louis in the race for the final wildcard spot in the NHL's Western Conference. So it's an easy conclusion to draw that the Canucks had been even remotely improved in front of their home fans last season. They could have been a playoff team. And this is something JPAT really hit home during, Rink-Wide on actually numerous episodes of Rink-Wide Vancouver. He said this multiple times. If the Canucks had a better home record, they would have been a playoff team. And I have to agree with him on that. Only one team qualified for the postseason in 24-25 with fewer than 20 home ice wins. The New Jersey Devils made it to the dance with a home record of 19, 17, and 5, so it's not like a minimum of 25 wins is required to be a playoff team. In fact, 4 teams locked down playoff berths with fewer than 25 victories last season. Previous season, en route to 50 wins, 109 points, and a Pacific Division title, the Canucks totaled to a record of 27, 9, and 5 on home ice. As we mentioned earlier, it was the complete opposite from this past season. So there is recent precedent for the organization to draw on it when it comes to getting it right more often than not at Rogers Arena. Between dictating matchups, benefiting from tired teams making their way to town, and the comforts of sleeping in their own beds, the Canucks simply have to find a way to make home ice more of an advantage than it was last season, when the team suffered a series of embarrassing losses to the likes of Buffalo, Detroit, Boston, the New York Islanders, Nashville, and Seattle. Don't even get me started on that Seattle one, or even the New York Islanders one for that matter. Earn wins in even half of those games, and the Canucks would have recouped the points needed to climb above the playoff bar. The team opens at home on October 9th against a Calgary club that plays the night before in Edmonton. That should play into Vancouver's favor. The Canucks open with just 2 of their first 8 games and only 5 of their first 14 on home ice, so the front end of the schedule is loaded with road contests. This will add heft to the home games to ensure the Canucks stabilize results in the early going. Obviously, we remember the home opener last year did not go so well for the Canucks, at least in terms of winning. Sure, they put up the goals, and it was a bit of a scoring fest, but in the end, the Canucks ended up dropping that game in overtime. The team's first 7 home dates are against the Calgary Flames, St. Louis Blues, Montreal Canadiens, Edmonton Oilers, New York Rangers, Chicago Blackhawks, and Columbus Blue Jackets. Of that group, only St. Louis, Edmonton, and Montreal were playoff teams last season, and only the Oilers secured a division postseason berth, so opportunity comes calling early and often among the team's initial home outings. It's imperative that the Canucks figure out the reasons behind their sluggish starts on home ice on too many nights last season and find ways to reverse that troubling trend. Opponents opened the scoring in 20 of the 41 games at Rogers Arena last season, and the Canucks managed to come back to win just 8 of those games. In the 21 games in which they scored first, the Canucks only won 9 of those. So protecting leads and building on them proved to be a problem as well. Good teams are generally good both home and away. No one is expecting the Canucks to be a dominant force this season. However, with solid goaltending and a strong defense, the team must find a way to generate more results on home ice than it did last season. That should go without saying. And it really shouldn't be too much to ask the team to pick up an additional 5 or 6 victories in Vancouver, hold on to a few leads, reverse fortune in a few overtime games, get a handful of individual performances that tip the scales in the home team's favor. It all seems simple enough. New head coach Adam Foote has his work cut out for him in many facets of the game, and putting on a better show for the paying customer is an area that needs to improve. Anything less than 23, 15, and 3, 49 points this season would be disappointing for both the hockey club and its fans. Obviously, everyone knows, the raising of the price tickets, prices went up for tickets this current season. And fans were not happy about it. And if the Canucks, play at home the same way they did last season, that's going to have fans even more pissed off about it. So, if you want to jack up the prices for tickets, you expect the home team to perform. And that is just not something that they did last season. So hopefully this season, the Canucks can have a home record, maybe not identical to 23-24, but maybe something similar. Perhaps. Obviously I'm pretty optimistic. Obviously with the Canucks, anything Canucks, I'm optimistic about. So, but I do think this is a good topic, and it was very intriguing. But I want to know from you guys, to you, what is an acceptable home ice record? Is it like what J. Pat said here, 23, 15, and 3? Is that acceptable to you? Or would you prefer something similar to the 23-24 campaign where they were 27, 9, and 5? Would you prefer that? Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. And of course, as always, if you guys like this video, be sure to hit that like button. And if you want to stay up to date on all your Vancouver Canucks content on this channel, be sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss a single video. You can find us on social media. We are on all these social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok. You can see them right there. And if you would, feel free to give us a follow on all of them. It is, of course, greatly appreciated. And lastly, if you prefer an audio version of this podcast, you can find us on both Spotify and Apple Podcast, on Spotify. Once again, feel free to give us a follow, as well as rate and review us. It is greatly appreciated, and of course, really helps out the podcast. But that's going to do it for this video. As always, let's go Canucks, and I'll see you guys in the next video.